So good morning.
Good morning. Yeah.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
I'm Dr. Selvan, Head Department of Zoology. I would like to welcome our today's resource person, Dr. Vijay Pal Singh.
Yeah.
Presently, he is the Joint Director of Food Safety and Standard Authority of India, and formerly he worked as an assistant professor in the Academy of Scientific and Innovative Research. He is basically a graduate in veterinary medicine and become a postgraduate in dairy husbandry and milk processing. Later, he took PhD in biotechnology, and he has more than 35 publications in index journals. Thereafter, he has been trained in various foreign universities like Utrecht University, Netherlands, BFR, Germany, and Cambridge in UK, and many more. And he is also an ad hoc specialist in the International Association for Assessment and Accreditation of Laboratory Animal Care, and the Department of Zoology and Marathanesis College is extremely delighted to have a resource person like Dr. Vijay Pal Singh, and on behalf of Marathanesis College and especially Department of Zoology, I extend hearty welcome to Dr. Vijay Pal Singh, and I invite him to deliver this session. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I welcome all the participants also to this webinar. I hope this will be a wonderful event for you. Welcoming one and all again, I conclude. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you very much, Professor Dr. Selvin. And I'm very pleased to have this webinar by Department of Zoology, MA College, Autonomous Kottamangalam, Kerala, India. And I also would like to thank Dr. Bineet for this some training in GNU. And somehow now we will discuss this very, very interesting topic on one welfare, one world. And why should we care about animal at all? So actually, as of now, sir, I only see a blank screen. So I have called. If there is any question, any interruption, please stop me. So I don't see any message or anything from this side. Okay, sir? If any interruption is happen, please inform me or call me or WhatsApp me. Okay, sir? Can somebody confirm? Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Now, starting with the first, what is welfare? Welfare is basically a scientific term, but most of the time it is confused and it is being used mostly as a political terms that you are going to use something in free or subsidy or whatever. But welfare of an individual is its state as regards it attempt to cope with its environment. And basically, this includes both extent of failure to cope and ease or difficulty in coping. You go to a new environment, you go to a new situation, whether you can fight and cope, you survive or you don't, and then you fail and you may have some other issues. Most important point in welfare is coping is having control of mental and bodily stability. In case of animal welfare or ethics, usually what we feel that you provide your animal with food, bedding, water, that's all, nothing. they need, and then you can keep them tied or in the caged or in the environment where you are only providing the bodily stability. You are not providing mental stimulus, and we can evaluate and we can equate the same situation where I am myself, suppose you put in a prison, my the autonomy, my bodily requirements are all met. I will provide feed, bedding and everything, but I don't have a mental control. So it's not, the welfare is not really taken care. So in this situation, I want to very emphasize and point out that welfare does not mean only bodily stability and bodily requirement or physical requirement. It emphasizes the requirement of mental stimulus, and also welfare always refer to the living animal, including humans, and it is characteristic of an individual animal. Feeling, including suffering, is a key part of welfare. If you are suffering, then welfare is really very, very poor. And animal protection is something human do to animal. So animal protection and animal welfare is different. Welfare is something when you are taking care of physical as well as mental requirement of the animal. Animal protection is something you are protecting animal. History of animal welfare. History of animal welfare is very, very old in India, since we are keeping animal as is in very religious places also praying also, and many of the animal are considered as a god or means kind of these things. And also we have so many historical, and in Vedas also we have a mention of the animal where we're considering the animal equal. But the more scientific kind of the welfare history started with the Brembel report of 5 freedom in 1965, where he said the freedom from hunger, freedom from thirst, freedom from fear, freedom from all these things. And there he was going from farm to farm, as like in India, and asking people, do you see a welfare issue? And they will never say, no, 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 we don't see any issue. We are feeding them, they are growing, they are breeding and all that one. There is no welfare problem. But these freedom and these bodily needs are not satisfactory itself. The freedom are not, and also nowadays the freedom itself, the 5 freedoms which were given by Brembel, are not precise enough to be used as a basis for welfare assessment. And this is now an outdated approach, and better we are going is for obligation. Our obligation in relation to causing harm or poor welfare. If we are causing poor welfare to animal, it is our obligation not to do so. And assessment of right and freedom may cause the problem, but it is basically obligatory. Why should we do welfare? Why should we care for animal at all? Because the two greatest threats that have come is only from the animal. Human beings are on earth since millions of years, and disease is appearing only just since 10,000 years. Animal which are in jungle brought in the backyard, they were not in the backyard before. And I can quote some of the diseases which have origin from animal, like cattle and sheep. We get rinderpest are there in animal, and the measles which comes in humans is from that source. Camel pox are related to the smallpox. Pig we are getting whooping cough. From chicken we got typhoid. From duck we got influenza. From horse common cold. From water buffalo we got leprosy, and now latest the SARS, HIV, Ebola, BSC, this is bone spongiform mad cow disease, from barnyard to the factory for the animal protein. So the welfare is very, very important in the sense that most of the diseases which are coming to us through the animal protein source or food animal, we are not taking welfare and we are treating them as the commodity. And these are the some of the example where you see in the market different variety of animal are kept which are not really there. Means usually I don't see these are consumed in India, but outside India and in some of these country, these kind of animal are being consumed, and we are constantly exposed to these viruses which get stabilized and which cross over and jump to the human, and they start causing the disease into human. This is another topic where we find that a lot of viruses are jumping from the animal to human, and here the concept of one health and one welfare is very, very important, where if you are not taking welfare of the animal while transporting, while killing, while taking them the food, these viruses have more potential for jumping from animal to human. So it is our own purpose, selfish purpose. We should care for animal because a lot of disease I gave you the example are coming to us. Another is the ethical issue, that why should we care? Why should we do welfare? As of now, humans have a more anthropocentric views of what is being best brain do we have. We always consider that we are the best, but that is not really the case. Almost all abilities are reported in primate that are also found in fish. So I am giving you the scientific justification and reason that whatever the capability that you see in human and we see anthropocentric, that we are the best. Another thing, that what we consider the good for animal or good for us is also good for animal is also not true. So these primates, they also have a lot of capability, and also there is the fish. They are the fastest in evaluation and responding is like a blowfly. You can read the paper of Haley et al., where they come and sit and they immediately go. They don't see any response from us. So they are very fast in evaluation. They come, sit, and evaluate, and then they fly back. They are also very good in learning. If you compare the number of errors in 5-year-old child and also cow and sheep and goat and pig, and you see how many are performed less well than dog, cat, rat, horses, etc. This is very old paper published in 1987. Discrimination and recognition. Sheep use the ear position to make the distinction than the eye. So they can also discriminate based on the ear position, whether someone is attacking us or in fearful condition. So with these capability, innovation, like crow, if you give the bread to the crow will not directly eat the bread, but they will put the bread into the sea, they will attract the fish and they will eat the fish, not the bread. So they are also very innovative, and also they can have the capability of, like, if you have a two group of heifer and one group of heifer have access to the food without doing anything, and one group of heifer means young buffalo or young calf, if another one have the access to the food, but they have to break the barrier and then they will access to the food, the heifer which is going to break the barrier is more happier to have the access to the food. So with the capability, innovation, discrimination, learning, fastest evaluation, when these things are there, these brain complexity and cognitive abilities are there in animal, it is our obligation and responsibility that we should care for them a lot. But now we always get confused that animal don't feel pain, fish don't feel pain, sheep don't feel pain, mice don't feel pain. This is wrong on our part. The basic concept is that anything which is causing pain in human also causing pain in animal. The fundamental rule is this, but how they express is different. Like if you have a pain in sheep, they don't vocalize, but the way they move is also changed. The way they respond through the facial expression is also changed. So it is important they express the pain, but we don't understand how they express the pain. Like many of the people think that fish, they can eat something like this, like a vegetable, and they don't feel pain. You put a simple example I have given you there. You put acetic acid in the mouth of a trout, and they will show every sign of pain. They will go here and there, and they will strike on the wall, and they will give a very. But you give the morphine or you give the analgesic, the sign of pain is gone. That clearly shows that fish also feel pain, sheep also feel pain, mice also feel pain, and every animal feel pain. And fundamental is, if anything which cause pain in human also cause pain in animal. So it is important, I know that it is emotion, they have emotions, they have a feeling. So for us it is important to believe that yes, they have the more or less same cognitive and complex feeling, and it is our obligation to treat them well. Another example is that you have a dog. Suppose in a dog you have in house, you put a food to them, but ask them not to eat this. You go out, if your dog will eat that food, and when you will come back, you can see that dog is having the guilt. Oh, my owner said not to eat, I have eaten. And when you are coming back, the dog will be feeling guilt. How you know? How you measure the dog is feeling guilt? You can measure by measuring the heart rate and also other parameter. So this I am going to discuss in detail. How do you measure welfare? So with these complex feeling, emotions, disease coming to us, and also complexity and cognitive, we need to give the full understanding to the animals for their need. And another is the welfare is also not same every time. If your pup is small, their requirements are different. If you have full grown dogs, the requirements are different. If you have a chow which is small, its requirements are different. If they are pregnant, their requirements are different. They need straws, but when they give out the birth, what they need is not the straw but the food. So the welfare is not always same. It always change with the need, with the age. Like our requirement also change. When we are young, we are different. We need to play cricket, but when we are growing old, that requirement things change. So these things are changing with the time and with the age. Genetically modified or genetically upgrading. So I'm sure I should not use the word modification, but it is the genetic upgradation. Nowadays, you have a broiler or chicken, you might be knowing that earlier it used to grow in 12 weeks to 2.2 kg. Now it is growing in 35 days. Is it not a welfare problem? Yes, it is a welfare problem. Earlier, the cow used to give 42,000 or 100 kg. Now it is giving 9,000. So we are breeding and genetically modifying the animal in some way that they are producing a lot. And in the meantime, we are not taking care of the requirement, which is need of the animal very much. How do you measure welfare? I told you the welfare is a concept which is scientific in nature. So you can measure the heart rate. Suppose here is the case. You are having a sheep, and when is sheep is kept in special isolation, no problem. Then standing in a stationary trailer, no problem. When